Welcome back to our live coverage of the Lipton Players Championship. This is Graf and Mary Jo Fernandez on the stadium court. Mary Jo Fernandez serving. She trails 4-5 in the first set. We are on serve. The last time they played was just last week. Won pretty easily by Stefanie Graf. In fact, in the first set, Mary Jo Fernandez won only 3 points. Today has been very different. Stefanie Graf looking over at the linesperson, Mary, as if to say, are you sure about that? Even she, I think from her reaction, feels like that might have been good. There's a match update, 64% of first serves. Mary Jo Fernandez has had in the wind a very good first serve percentage. The winners are about even, as you can see. More unforced errors for Graf, a lot more. (30-15).
Big chance for Mary Jo Fernandez, who, after dropping, as you said, Cliff, last week, she took that first set at love. She knew she had to come out very quickly in this match and stay with Graf the whole way through. She's done a very good job of that. They played each other a bunch of times, and Graf has never allowed Mary Jo Fernandez to get a set.
7 times, in fact.
Game point for Mary Jo to even things at 5. Just last week, now the thing is, Graf was up a set and she was way up in the second 5-2, and then she lost her way a little bit. Mary Jo was able to climb back into that match before Graf finally put her down. And that's been one of the problems of Steffi Graf of late. And she has those kind of concentration lapses. But she saved herself a very, very big game in this first set. Fought off 3 break points, so she wouldn't go down 1-3, and a nice pass there. It was a 20-point third game, and Graf, who was broken 7 times yesterday against Kimiko Date, was finally able to win herself her serve. It's been a big problem this week, and it could be a big problem for her today against Mary Jo, who's really trying to keep any distance between these two from happening. Mary Jo Fernandez really approached the net too. She seemed hesitant, didn't she? She had a pretty good chance because the ball that she was given by Graf was pretty short. Watch what happens. See, she doesn't really attack the net, does she? She gets caught trying to make a very difficult volley too far from the net.
Wind, as you can see, is going to be affected today. It's breezy down there, even in the protection of the stadium court. Affects the serve as much as anything. The sun is behind Fernandez.
Approaching to the backhand side, the slice from Graf. Didn't have time to come over the board. Makes for an easy volley, and Mary Jo made no mistake.
Mary Jo had such a better time smacking this volley here. Again, as you said, Cliff, the backhand didn't have a lot on it, kind of light, and she was able to punch it cross court to draw things back to deuce. You will see Fernandez do that in this match. She wants to come into the net, and she will be mostly coming in off of a shot to the Graf backhand. Second set point now for the number 2 seed.
Jo Fernandez lost to Monica Seles in the final at the Australian Open last year. was a very close match, 9-7 in the third. She served especially well that day. That's what she needs to do again.
Near all the Mary Jo Fernandez fans, she has lived much of her life, most of her life, right in this area. And they were pretty happy with this backhand.
Graduated from the Carrollton High School, which is about a 10-minute drive from here if you take your time.
So fighting off 2 set points, and after 3 deuces, advantage Fernandez.
In fact, she missed graduation day because she was over at the French Championships a couple of years ago. Game point.
A lot of trouble that game for Mary Jo Fernandez, but she held on. And we are at 5 games all in 4 set. Best of 3 sets. The winner of this will be in the last 4. I hope you've enjoyed our coverage so far. It's been pretty scary from the beginning. I don't know if you know at this point. It's been a good afternoon. It's not just trying to miss.
I think Graf is looking for calls at this point.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, she knows she's got herself in a pretty tough match today.
A little shrug anyway. That's why she's happy with that call. 15 love.
Beauty. 92 mile an hour. Second ace of the match for Graf. Her serving got her in all kinds of trouble yesterday against Kimiko Date, as we mentioned. She had a cluster of double faults. She was broken 7 times. Went out and practiced her serve again after the match. She was not pleased with her form yesterday. Kind of lucky she wiggled out of it, and Date didn't play the big points well enough. In fact, she double faulted on match point. Graf hasn't played the big points well in this match, really. That last game, she had her chances. A nice lob winner there.
14 love.
What's tough about this lob is there's no way Mary Jo Fernandez could have chased it down because it wasn't high enough to chase down. It just barely got over Fernandez's racket.
Game point, Graf, 40 love.
So serving into the sun, Steffi Graf had no trouble winning that game on her serve. 6 games to 5. Mary Jo Fernandez will serve when we come back.
His voice back. Taking a break for a little while. He needs it. Working hard this week, as we showed you yesterday. Well, Graf leading 6-5 on serve. This is Fernandez serving first set. Best of 3.
Steffi Graf was unbothered in the first couple of rounds of the Lipton. She was given a ball, then beat Wilfred Probst and Rafaela Reggi Concato quite easily. But as we said, she really got herself in a match just yesterday against Kimiko Date of Japan, who is destined to be a top 20, perhaps even top 15 player among. For Mary Jo Fernandez, again, she hasn't even dropped a set yet. She had her tough time in the first set against Natalie Aramon. She beat Natalia Zvereva, as you can see, in straights, and then beat Gigi Fernandez, no relation, in straight sets as well.
15 all. Mary Jo Fernandez lost to Lipton last year to Monica Seles. She had a very tough match with her. The Australian, as I mentioned to you already, had a match point, in fact, in the semi-finals. But at the semi-final here a year ago, Seles won easily. Of course, she went on to win the tournament. $15.30.
Steffi Graf wishes she would play more like this woman is playing right now. Mary Jo has decided in 1992 that as much as possible, she will play from the net. Like Steffi Graf, she is not a natural-born serve and volley player. She still doesn't serve and volley much at all in a match, but she will come to the net when she can, when she thinks she should. Graf is struggling to do just the same thing.
It's that backhand very flat. It's a very solid shot. Watch this again here. The return from Graf is hit a little short. Now watch how she leans into this thing. Good shoulder turn, and then she rotates the shoulders to generate the power, but hits it very flat, and that's not an easy shot to track down. Game point, Fernandez. Waiting for the first chance to attack the net.
Advantage Fernandez.
She's playing very decisively.
That's why she's staying with Graf, Cliff. She's playing a very fine match here. And again, anytime she's got to look at anything she could be playing from the net, she's taking it. Very, very opportunistic today. Chance to bring this thing into a tiebreaker right here.
Game point. Back to deuce. Jo Fernandez and Monica Seles played the final at the Australian again this year. This year was not as pleasant a year for Mary Jo, though. She lost it easily. Graf. Working now with Heinz Günthardt of Switzerland, who is her new coach.
Yes.
Got to be happy with that point. Of course, they're trying to inject some more of that aggression that you'd like to see from her, Mary, into her game. I'm sure it's just not that easy when you've been the #1 player in the world for as long as she has. You've got to dance basically with who you brung, but she does have to add something to her game because the women's game has changed so dramatically, especially Monica Seles' game.
Well done again.
Game point.
A year or two ago, there's no way Mary Jo Fernandez would have taken this ball out of the air. She just would have been on the baseline and the rally would still be going now. But again, she's just seeking every possible chance to end a point. Fourth game point.
Serving into the sun. Not a good time of the day to be serving from that side.
First set.
And Fernandez.
A very nice drop shot there. Pretty well fielded by Graf, but bad luck for Steffi that it hit the net and allowed Mary Jo to poke it into the open court. Mary Jo Fernandez, born in the Dominican Republic, and all the South American fans living in this Miami area are very well behind her right now.
Father Spanish, her mother was Cuban, but they moved here to the Miami area and have been here ever since she was about 4 years old.
That's the thing that these baseline players are learning, that positionally, if you put positional pressure on your opponent, you can often win the rally.
Yeah, in other words, you don't have to be that good a volleyer as long as you choose the right time to come in. Very often the approach shot will win it for you. Exactly. 1 to Graf.
Graf was unhappy with her forehand in yesterday's quarterfinal match against Kamigo Date. She struck a couple of nice ones in this point. That's given her a 2-love lead.
Another unforced error from Graf, and we are back on serve. Excuse me, still a mini break. 2-1 Graf serving. She'll serve 2. And then Fernandez 2 until we get to first to 7, 2-point lead. Bad idea to attack the serve, but just hit the tape.
It's a good idea. The serve was 66 miles an hour, an attackable serve for Fernandez. Not a bad idea.
Great lob. A lot of variety from her today, Mary. Drop shots, lobs, and I think she's doing that on purpose.
3-2, Graf.
She really is doing a good job, Cliff. She's very alert. She realized that Graf came in so quickly. Look how close into the net is Steffi Graf. She committed herself so close to the net that the lob was the perfect shot.
has not only got the mini break back, but she has held on her serve, so they will change ends. Central European time. This is going live to Germany plus other countries in Europe, and they have that Central European time monitor on the court so that the folks who are watching in Europe know what time it is at home, presumably. Heidi Graf on the right of your screen, Peter Graf behind coach Heinz Gundhard in the dark glasses. Three. Well played. She's playing like there's no question in her mind about the right tactics to use, and it kind of takes one of the elements of doubt out of a match for Mary Jo Fernandez, and that's a good thing. On the other hand, Steffi Graf looks like she still is not quite sure when to come in and when to stay back.
She still hasn't built up the nerve to do it, I think. A beauty. Third ace of the day. Mary Jo doesn't think so, and she'll talk to Kasavich about it.
Will not be changed, though. It's just tough to make those line calls, and there are bad calls.
Biggest serving woman of the week, Jennifer Capriati, 106 miles an hour, although this woman got one up at 102.
4 points all. Good serve from Graf, and she has the lead in the tiebreaker. It's 5 games, 5 points rather to 4. It's 6 games all.
After seeing all that courage from Mary Jo in these last few games, I think she was very nervous in that rally. She has never, as we've said in 7 matches, taken a set from Graf.
Well, it kind of fizzled in at the last couple of points for Mary Jo Fernandez, and Steffi Graf has won the first set, the number 2 seed. We'll be back.
Doesn't bill. Okay. Right.
Okay. Score is what now? 6-1 tiebreak to Cherkasov. Let's go to court number 1 now. This is Cherkasov of the Soviet Union taking on Jakub Hlasek, I should say of Russia now, of course, taking on Jakub Hlasek of Switzerland, born in Czechoslovakia, but he moved to Switzerland when he was about the same age as Mary Jo Fernandez when she moved here to Miami. This is 6 points to 1 Cherkasov in the first set, tiebreaker.
What a tidy player Cherkasov is. I'm very impressed with the way this guy plays ball. He just stays in your face all match long. We've seen some wonderful play from Jakub Hlasek in recent years here at the Lipton. He's in trouble.
And he turns around and points to somebody in the crowd. So the 21-year-old from Russia has won the first set. He was runner-up to in the Brussels tournament last year to Guy Forget. Was his best result. So let's go back to the stadium court. Steffi Graf, Mary Jo Fernandez, with Graf just having won the tiebreaker in the first set. The players are taking a break. In fact, they have left the court for the moment. There is Steffi Graf. I shouldn't have said they have left the court. She was hiding behind the umpire's chair.
Just trying to get out of the sun, I guess.
Yeah, Mary Jo Fernandez has left the court for the moment. Sanchez Vicario of Spain over Amanda Kutzer of South Africa, 6-1, 6-4.
Amanda Kutzer has had it. She was the only unseeded woman in the quarterfinal draw. She has had herself a great couple of weeks. She got to the finals of last week's Virginia Slims.
So that's how things look.
Yeah, she was playing on an awful lot of confidence and emotion, but Sanchez Vicario, who plays with very much the same tools, was able to beat her in straight sets. So Sanchez Vicario, the 4th seed, is now waiting to see what happens between Jennifer Capriati and Monica Seles.
That match will be played later today here on the stadium court. The other section, Amy Frazier beaten by Gabriela Sabatini. So while we wait for Mary Jo to make her way back to the stadium court, we're going to take a short break. Stay with us, everybody. This is live coverage of Lipton 92.
Post gauge, please. Second set, Fernandez to serve, wide please, thank you.
I think Mary Jo changed her skirt.
Thank
Is that
you.
a skirt change, perhaps? Or a shirt change? I guess just a shirt change.
Wide please.
Oh.
15 love.
First point, second set. Remember Michael Chang and Pete Sampras up next here on the stadium court as our continuing live coverage comes to you from Key Biscayne, the International Tennis Center. 15 all.
You should mention the clip that the Women's Tennis Association has built in a new rule to the women's game that allows you to leave a match a couple of times if you need to change your shirt. And Mary Jo seems to have taken advantage of that rule.
So there could be 4 breaks, 1 for each player, I guess, during a match then. Fair enough.
Yeah, but what happens is more often than not, if somebody, you know, they'll go out and change their shirts to, you know,
Yeah.
at the same time.
Well played.
That's it.
Line is long. Terrific effort from Mary Jo.
Look at Graf is disgusted. I mean, she tried to just
40,
ventilate Fernandez's chest instead of, she had all kinds of time to really move this ball anywhere on the court. Instead, she gets back for the smash. Mary Jo makes a great reflex volley. You know, she really could have smashed that ball somewhere else instead of right on Mary Jo's strings.
Oh, again the drop shot. Terrific stuff from Mary Jo. Early stages, second set, 1 game to love. First set, Steffi Graf in the tie break. We'll be back after this. I got it.
I haven't seen this. Have you seen this yet?
Yeah. Okay.
Very nice. Where's Fred Starry?
Miami Seaquarium, it's on an island of this Miami area that is very close. In fact, you have to drive by it to get here to the tennis facility on Key Biscayne. It's one of the big attractions down here in South Florida. Enjoy it when you come down here. This is Graf serving to Mary Jo Fernandez in the second set. But first, let's tell you about what's coming up. 1 p.m. tomorrow through Friday as our live coverage continues, and then some tape delayed shows late Friday and early Saturday morning. Late Thursday, actually, and early Saturday morning. Hope you're enjoying things alongside us here. Mary Carrillo, Cliff Drysdale, Fred Stolle, Mary Jo Fernandez and Steffi Graf on center stage at the moment. Graf 15 love.
Fernandez continues to do a real good job of threatening the Graf serve, the second serve, whenever possible. She is playing in exactly the same way a couple of years ago that Gabriela Sabatini played against her in the semifinals of the US Open. Her game is full of variety, full of much more forward motion than ever before. It was really Sabatini who was the first bold baseline player to mix things up, just as Fernandez is doing now. Of course, Sabatini won round after beating Mary Jo at the US Open 2 years ago. Beat Steffi Graf the same way.
$15.30. Being served for Graf. 30 all.
Kind of the problem with Mary Jo, isn't it? I mean, she plays all this really good tennis, and you think some momentum should build from it, but it really hasn't. That really hasn't happened in her game yet. Her points exist in their own little bubbles. Now that point, for instance, Cliff, it was a tremendous shot, a very difficult smash. She had to chase down and basically hit something of a serve from the baseline. But as we've seen from Mary Jo time and again, she'll hit a great point, play a couple of good points in a row like that, and it doesn't translate into the next rally.
Throw in a kind of loose one.
Yeah, I mean, you know, there's no I'm not exactly sure how you turn something like that around either, because it's sort of emotional. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's another kind of a point right there, which badly unforced that error. Right in the middle of the net, it wasn't like it was even close, and she hit a one-handed backhand 2 points ago that sailed very wide. Game point. Again, the slice backhand that goes long. Remember that part of the reason for the unforced errors that we have seen this week, and I can't remember a match that we've seen in which we've had more winners than unforced errors. Then bear in mind that the wind is a factor. It's not that easy to control the ball when the wind is with you. No breaks of serve in the match. Fernandez had fewer unforced errors than Graf, as you can see, but she made 2 straight unforced errors to lose the tiebreaker. So it has been a game of unforced errors so far.
I think Steffi Graf has been very effective against Mary Jo when she's been really hitting some very hard backhand slices to Mary Jo's forehand. Mary Jo hasn't to Mary Jo's backhand side. Fernandez would much rather be striking backhands from a higher contact point.
Called wide.
So you know, there's always talk that Graf is not, you know, hitting enough tops and backhands, and I happen to agree with that. But in this case, against Mary Jo, Fernandez, I think she's worrying her more when she hits that slice and is forcing Fernandez to try to scrape up some low backhands.
Her second ace. Coming up next here on the stadium court, number 4 beats Sampras, and number 6 Michael Chang. Both seated high, as you can see. Chang's won a couple of tournaments already. Pete Sampras had a very good year last year outside of the Grand Slam tournaments. He won the ATP Tour Championships in Frankfurt and made $1 million there, for example.
Game Fernandez.
Mary Jo Fernandez holds on. We're on serve. Let's see, still no breaks of serve in the match. 2-1. Fernandez leads. First set, Graf in a tiebreak.
Ball
Oh, good. Where is? Has he got a big old scarf around his neck?
The blip.
Oh, where is he? Where is he now?
We're trying to find Fred Story. Do you remember the story in Germany when Fred Story would not come to the Neuschwanstein Castle? We've given him a hard time ever since there. That gentleman is taken off in an effort to try to track him down because he is nowhere to be found for the moment. But he'll be back. Voice and all, or lack of voice.
I always enjoy it when Fred Story talks about a Mary Jo Fernandez match because, of course, for years, he's known Mary Jo since she was a couple of feet shorter than this for many, many years, and he's worked on her game. And he's followed her progress from the time, really, she was about 12 years old.
20 years old now. As you said, Dominican Republic, living now in Miami, Florida, but it was not one of those things where she was brought up in the Dominican Republic. She has been here almost all of her life. We're in Key Biscayne. In case you just joined us, Mary Jo Fernandez is a native of this area. Learning some German words here, Mary, new ones. From Boris Becker yesterday, now Steffi Graf. I like the emotion.
People sound angrier in German.
It's a kind of a guttural language, isn't it?
We saw that Graf made more unforced errors than Mary Jo Fernandez in set 1. That's no big surprise. She's got a much higher risk game than her opponent. She tends to hit a lot more winners.
Game point.
14-15.
Steffi Graf has won here a couple of times, as you can see. Chris Evert back in '86. Martina Navratilova hasn't played here in a few years. Monica Seles won it the last 2 times. She's the holder, of course. Sabatini as well. Seles and Capriati will play later today, take on Sanchez Vicario semi-final.
Graf holds on here, 2 games all, still no breaks.
I mean, that's a big surprise. Even in the men's matches, you've had a lot of breaks of serve, in spite of some big serving. Because the court's pretty slow, really. Gives the players who are returning a lot of chance to get into the points. But no breaks in this match, nevertheless. First set won in the tiebreak. 31-2 record here, 2 titles, as you just saw, 87 and 88.
Cliff, don't you think, especially in the men's game, that the tournament directors are trying to slow down the courts? I mean, it certainly seems to be the case in Palm Springs a couple of weeks ago, a tournament that Michael Chang won. It was a very slow hard court. This, Boris Becker and Pete Sampras and the others feel is a very slow hard court.
Yeah, I think they are, and I think they should be. Matter of fact, Charlie Passerelle wasn't last week, it was the week before last, actually, during the tournament, told me, no, he said, that's the same as it's always been down here. He said, take a look at the winners that we've had over the years. We've had a very good mix of fast servers and defensive players.
Players seem to,
players did.
yeah, the players really thought it was slower.
Yeah. I was just interested to try. I mean, sometimes the tournament director doesn't know exactly what the guy who's putting the final layer is putting in there. That guy is probably the most important person in tennis and just doesn't know it. 15 all.
That particular tournament was interesting, wasn't it? Because Andrei Chesnikov beat 3 top 10 guys in that tournament. And he too is a baseliner.
Well, this whole speed of the game thing that we have been talking about, finish that after this.
It was a nice, it was a forehand that set up Graf so well at the net. Smashes that away.
15-30.
That's the thing with Steffi Graf. A little bit like Jimmy Connors, who didn't come to the net an awful lot, but he came in behind such big stuff that he wasn't forced to be a great volleyer. And I think that's going to be true of Graf. If she does decide to come into net, if she should stop worrying about, to my mind, really making her volley great. She's got to be looking to make her approach game great. That's not, she got a little lucky there because Fernandez had a good poke at that ball. She wasn't terribly rushed.
Break point for Graf. Getting back to the speed of the game thing quickly, it's important, I think, that the whole subject should be addressed, and it will be addressed on Friday morning, courtesy of the ATP Tour holding a symposium on the subject. But you don't want to get it that slow to where the defensive players win everything either.
No one's broken
no
yet.
Breaks. Both had 3 chances. Second serve.
There it is.
First break of the match. And it's against Mary Jo Fernandez, so Steffi Graf leads 3 games to 2 at the break. Second set, she won the first in the tiebreak, so we'll be back with more live coverage after this. Starts tonight.
It's gorgeous. Where'd you get that?
Won it in the golf tournament.
Wow. Let me see.
Same watch as what that money just put up there.
That's entirely too elegant looking for you.
It is.
It really is.
But I won it. Shut up.
Love 15.
Second double fault. Not bad considering how much breeze there is out there.
All.
Talking about Steffi Graf's ball toss yesterday, I still feel like it's a little too high, especially for windy conditions, but even for any conditions, I don't think it's necessary to throw the ball quite as high as she does. Makes the timing a lot more difficult. Figure out how high above where she makes contact this ball goes. Look at how high it is. Look at that there. Now see how high it comes down. 1, 2, 3 feet, I would say. You guess. Before she hits the ball.
What I'm not crazy about with the way she tosses the ball, Cliff, is that I don't think it's I don't know how she'll ever serve and volley behind that if she ever feels like it. You know, it doesn't really get her into the court. It's such a right?
That's exactly right. That's number one. Number two is the quicker you swing, of course, the more action you have with your racket head, so the harder you hit the ball as well. And the lower you toss the ball, relatively speaking, the easier it is to make contact because you don't have all that timing to concern yourself. However, you cannot argue with somebody who's been number one in the world for 186 weeks.
No, I'm just saying that if she does ever want to develop a serve and volley, she doesn't have herself a real serve and volley serve. That's her second double fault of this game, third of the match. You know, that serve is basically built to do damage on its own, not with a volley behind it. And it's gone away from her right now.
Still game point for Graf.
Yeah.
Deuce.
Fernandez, you can see it again. She's dancing around on those second serves. Comes in behind it again into the Graf backhand to set up the open shot volley winner.
4 games to 2.
Graf holds on 4 games to 2 in the second set. She won the first in the tiebreak. Take a look at the Craft Tour points leaders as of now. Monica Seles clearly ahead, having won the Australian Championships. Mary Jo Fernandez, finalist at the Australian, is next. Then Gabriela Sabatini, Conchita Martinez had a good year so far, Mary, and Sanchez Vicario. Then Steffi Graf, Martina Navratilova, Zina Garrison, Amy Fraser, Jana Novotna at number 10. 16 players go to the Virginia Slims Championships at Madison Square Garden at year's end. Play a knockout competition there. The men's division, 8 men are invited to the ATP Tour Finals in Frankfurt, Germany. 16 to the Grand Slam Cup.
She's keeping a nice high first serve percentage, about 80% for Fernandez, and she's doing well off the first serve, but again, that second serve percentage that's low. If you're not keeping it at about 50%, that means that you're pretty breakable. Still though, she's only been broken. Their only break of the whole match came at 2-all in this set.
Game point, Mary Jo Fernandez. The average for the tour is about 50% on second serve effectiveness. It's interesting that though, isn't it? So you miss your first serve and it's an even ball game from there on in. Just to show how important it is to get the first serve in. Solid volley, and Mary Jo Fernandez. Whole serve, but she's down. Break the serve, 4-3, second set.
Graf leads 4 games
And she
to
lost
3.
the first. Little freeze action there, boys. Little freeze action. God damn, that was exciting. Be quiet. Done. I am working, okay?
There he is. Yeah. Yeah, he's giving it the, yeah, I want to get on. Also, do we have any Sports Center promos to be doing? Because Robin Roberts is sitting in the press section, just to let you know. Little Sports Center poppage. She's in orange.
Steffi Graf, number 2 seed. Look at her. She leads this match. Tie-break first set. Now one break. There's only been one break in the match, and she captured it. There's Harold Solomon. They were talking about the wisdom of Solomon down in Australia. He's the man with the black hat in the middle of your screen. He was a fine player, along with Eddie Dibbs. They used to play some doubles together, but in truth, they were not too swift. And by the way, he is a man who was not a real good serve and volleyer himself. Matter of fact, he only ever went to the net to shake hands and pick up a check.
But he signed on a couple of months ago to coach Mary Jo Fernandez, and he basically said, look, you know, you're a very fine player. You're high up in the rankings. You've made an awful lot of money, but if you want to get any better, we got to add some variety. And she has. Of course, she's been working on it solidly for the last few years. But it's only of late that it's really something she does a lot. First and second serve, look at that for Steffi Graf. That's pretty impressive to have the second serve percentage up at about 70.
also speaks for lost opportunities for Mary Jo Fernandez. 30 love. Some other results from today. Gabriela Sabatini easily over Amy Frazier. So she's in the semifinals. Sanchez Vicario easily also over Amanda Kutzer of South Africa. Sanchez Vicario will take on the winner of Celis Capriati to be played later today. Sabatini will take on the winner of the match that you are watching now. Live coverage continues and Steffi Graf holds on 5 games to 3. She leads 1 game from the match. Another one of those matches, Mary, that could have turned on just 1 point.
Yeah, you know, Mary Jo has had, boy, she's had a couple of matches, more than a couple of matches just like this clip where she starts off really well and is as opportunistic as possible. And then just kind of, you know, that tends to go away. As we said, there were second serves she could have jumped on. There were break points that she wasn't able, you know, she lost a bit of aggressiveness when she really needed it. There's a double, her second of this match. But I honestly think that once she wins a big match, playing from all over the court, you know, once she gets that one, she tucks one away where she plays boldly and wins because of it, it'll really help her. She needs that breakthrough match with this style of play.
Yep. 30 love. The best news for her is that this is the way that she has got to play to win matches, and she's doing it, even though she's lost some matches. She'll get used to it. She has the game too. Mechanically, she volleys well.
She's sound. That's why she's one of the best doubles players in the women's game.
Make that 15-30.
She's been attacking Graf's backhand, and she's been effective doing it, but Graf has won a lot of important points off of Fernandez's backhand as well.
All.
Match point. Big serve into the right-hander's right hip. And Graf just couldn't get out of the way of it, so match point saved by Fernandez.
That's in the X cap there. That's Steffi's brother Michael. Big windsurfing dude. Likes it down here, likes it in the Florida area for that. Oh!
Game point. yeah. Well, that's like the Graf of old, that. Played with confidence. And hit fiercely. Take a look and see how she gets out of the way of this one. Big shoulder turn. And now from there, she is off the ground. As you can see, take a look at her feet. They're a couple of inches off the ground. At full swing, now she makes contact, bam, through the ball. That's where she generates her power. I mean, it's one full body turn.
Advantage Fernandez.
Fernandez holds on, and Steffi Graf will have to serve for the match if she wants to win it. Fred. Could you go down?
Are you up for? Yeah.
Hustling now to do it with
He's hustling. He's going to do a swan dive right off the booth.
With who?
Yeah, with Steffi.
With Steffi. I thought he said Stefanie.
Oh, you should see him hustling. He's flying. He's flying down the booth.
Time.
Okay, here's an interesting look at something. We've been talking about Steffi Graf's high ball toss, especially in the wind. Take a look at her on the left as she tosses it up and see how much higher than where she makes contact with the ball it gets. Now contrast this with Mary Jo Fernandez, whose ball gets up just about 1 foot higher than where she makes contact with it. Big difference, isn't there? Now watch it as it comes down all that way. And this one there, as I said, about, let's see, 6 inches to a foot, and then bam, she hits it. So a much more conservative move there, and a much more, as a result, effective serve, Fernandez. This is Graf serving for the match.
Oh, man.
15.
She couldn't have been in a better position, Fernandez. She had a pretty nice light, high ball. Right into the net. Well, that was mishit, stayed on the line. And a winner!
15 all.
15 all.
For Mary Jo Fernandez, that volley, she didn't really have control of it. It went right back into Steffi Graf's forehand side, and she bangs it into the open court. Here's another look. Approach it into the center of the court, as you can see, another one, but she's out of reach that time. That second volley did not mean to go in her mind where she hit it. 30-15. Now match point again for Steffi Graf. She had one the last time that Mary Jo Fernandez serve did not convert. Yep. Again into the forehand side, and Graf makes Mary Jo Fernandez pay the price. She is through to the semi-final of the championship, and we will enjoy watching her play against Gabriela Sabatini there. Your thoughts, Mary?
I think Graf should be happier with her match today from yesterday, and she did a couple of things better, really, Cliff. She cut down on the unforced errors. She served much better than she served yesterday. She cooked on a couple of forehands. Her very good friend, Mary Jo. Mary Jo is actually one of Steffi's better friends on the tour. I mean, again, we've been saying all along, she's doing the right thing. She's trying the right things. I think she loses her nerve a little bit when it really counts. But one of these days, she is going to have a big win, and she's going to win it, you know, the way she wants, with what she's working on.
She's come awfully close twice, both at the Australian. She's played 2 Australian Open finals. Only 5 points difference in the match, 7-6, 6-4 to Graf. We'll be back.
Can you make, hey Brian, I'm okay, but you better make this a 1-minute break. Huh?
Over here.
Yeah. Well played. Not as many problems with the serve today as yesterday.
We hold both.
Yeah, okay. 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 Graf in straight sets. Let's test Fred Stolley's voice out. He's at courtside with Steffi. Fred.
Well, thanks, Cliff. The voice is not too good, but Steffi's very happy. Steffi, you served a little bit better today.
Yeah, definitely. I hold my serve a lot better than I did yesterday, and maybe I should have put a little bit more pressure on her serve, and I had some chances for some better returns. But she came in well and she served well in the beginning.
Did the tactics that Mary Jo attacked a lot more today, did they surprise you at all?
Well, she has shown it just in a few other matches. For example, beating Gabriela in Australia, and she tried to do it more. And we just played 2 weeks ago, and so she just tried something different, and it worked well in the first set.
The first couple of matches you've had a bit of a problem with the backhand. Were you happier with it today?
Yeah, I think I hit some good passing shots, especially at the end. I think I hit some solid ones, and it's just sometimes I was a little bit off on my forehand again.
The 5 weeks that you had off working, you came back and won your first tournament back. That's got to give you a little bit of confidence.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I've had some tough matches, and I've gotten through them, and I won them, and so it feels good to have played some matches and to have the first tournament as a win. So yeah, I feel good.
Well, you're living up at the Polo Club at Palm Beach. Now you come down here to Miami. You play 2 of the homegrown girls down here. First Mary Jo, now it's Gabriela.
Yeah, but I feel pretty home too, and I think I have my fans here too. But you know, it's gonna be a tough match tomorrow. But I don't think the fans gonna make that big of a difference.
They're not going to bother you. How about the topspin from the Sabatini forehand?
Well, that surface is quite slow, and I think so. I have some time to get around and try to do something, work on it. So I think it suits me a little bit better here.
Well, congratulations and good luck the rest of the way. Thanks for talking to us. Back to you, Cliff.
Thank you to you, Fred, and thank you, Steffi Graf. She's through to the semi-finals. And then semi-finals, as we have told you, she will take on Gabriela Sabatini. And then Sanchez Vicario, the number 4 seed, is also through to the semi-finals. Monica Seles will take on Jennifer Capriati later. That's how things look in this section of the draw.